What I want to do is make a simple set line. And this is something you could do at home, something you can put together in 15 minutes and still works. Sir.
Good boy.
All right, I'm Greg Elvins, and this is Ovens Rocky Mountain. Unseasonable warmth grips the Rockies. Greg Ovens faces a snowless December, where lakes remain stubbornly open. This anomaly disrupts survival routines. Yet he presses on with Finn. A homegrown chicken awaits, offering rare comfort in the unforgiving wilderness. Soaking wet garments tell the tale of relentless rain. The lake presents a frustrating paradox, possessing too much ice for navigation, yet remaining too thin for safe ice fishing. Seeking a reliable solution, Greg Ovens extracts dry wood powder from insect-bored trunks, securing a crucial resource against the relentless deluge. Combined with resinous pitch, rich in natural turpentine, these salvaged elements form the vital foundation for a desperate fire-starting attempt. Using a ferrite, a suitable birch bark remains elusive. Sparks fly as the ferro rod strikes against the scraper. Suddenly, the essential tool snaps, leaving a broken fragment behind in the unforgiving snow. Rather than surrendering to this mechanical setback, the resilient survivor adapts, using the fractured piece to generate a relentless shower of sparks. Eventually, a bright orange flame catches the dry tinder, proving that sheer perseverance often outlasts sudden equipment failure. Survival demands enduring extreme hardship, not merely theoretical knowledge. A simple lighter would solve the moisture issue instantly. Yet stubborn pride dictates relying solely on a fractured ferro rod, snapped in half during a prior expedition. The broken tool now requires double the physical effort to generate adequate heat. Patience becomes the ultimate weapon here, as persistent friction gradually dries damp tinder into viable fuel. Okay, I think the pitch caught on fire that time. Okay, now we're good. Greg arrives at a stark gray cliff, immediately gathering firewood for the freezing night ahead. Accompanied by his loyal dog, Finn, he carefully checks if the surrounding ice is thick enough to safely support a future ice fishing expedition. All the way.
Just sitting there.
Oh, it's all caught. Well, yes, I'm gonna just cut it right there. Greg splits the thick log with precision. He notes that the recent drop in temperature and snowfall makes starting a fire significantly easier than the previous relentless rain, which soaked everything. This shift turns a frustrating struggle into a manageable task, ensuring warmth for the night. Intense friction finally yields a stable, roaring flame. The burning embers are carefully transferred into the metal stove, securing vital heat against the wilderness chill. Amidst the growing warmth, the loyal dog approaches with a stray twig held firmly in its mouth. The spontaneous offering of firewood earns warm commendation, highlighting the deep bond and unspoken teamwork between Greg and his companion. Steam billows as the cast iron pot reveals its rich contents. A massive bone-in chicken piece smothered in a thick sauce and melted cheese represents a feast fit for royalty. The expert savors the tender meat, deeply appreciating the rare reward of raising his own poultry in the remote wild. This homegrown delicacy offers a profound sense of satisfaction and pride. A generous portion of the savory bone is then handed to the waiting dog, concluding the meal with shared contentment and quiet warmth. Sunlight pierces the tall pines, casting a bright glow on the snow as Greg walks toward a small, secluded lake. This marks his very first attempt at ice fishing in this spot. A necessary shift after he found the previous waters completely impossible to troll. They're all not that thick. The ice is not that thick here. But it's thick enough to walk on as far as I'm concerned. It's about 4 inches. So, we're good to safety. The ice is not a mere suggestion, but a strict necessity for survival. The expert warns that the lake center often hides dangerously thin layers, emphasizing the critical need for self-rescue tools. He recounts a harrowing tale of an acquaintance who survived a fatal plunge using only a simple pocket knife. Furthermore, he condemns the reckless individuals who carve massive unmarked holes with chainsaws, turning the frozen landscape into a deadly trap. The focus shifts to crafting a highly efficient setline trap. Greg utilizes 4 carefully selected wooden sticks beginning to assemble the core structure of a sturdy tripod mechanism. This design, fundamentally different from traditional setups, relies on precise geometric balance to function flawlessly under tension. With a sharp blade, he meticulously carves the necessary notches into the wood, transforming raw branches into a sophisticated fishing device. The crossbeam's notch is designed to lock securely onto the vertical pole. As he sharpens the ends and drills pilot holes, the survivor reflects on the drastic weather shift from boating to ice fishing. The paracord connections initially appear loose, yet this apparent slack is entirely intentional for the assembly phase. Once the tension is applied during the trapping process, the ropes will automatically cinch tight, ensuring the mechanism holds firm. Precision defines the trap's joints. Despite frozen stiff hands, Greg Ovens maintains blade control. This physical toll underscores the wilderness's unforgiving nature. He warns of hypothermia's danger, proving that maintaining dexterity is a constant battle against the cold environment. Greg lowers the paracord halfway, explaining that this strategic move applies greater downward pressure to optimize the trap's efficiency. He then carves a sharp angle into a small wooden piece. This meticulously crafted component serves as the core trigger mechanism, designed to release stored energy at the slightest disturbance. A tiny notch on the trigger is specifically carved to hold the fishing line securely. By rotating the main stick, the survivor builds up immense torsional tension, ensuring the hook sets instantly upon a bite. The final step involves tying the trigger cord with extreme care and absolute precision. This connection must possess a hair trigger sensitivity, balancing on the razor's edge between holding tension and releasing it flawlessly. A mere tap sends the trap snapping open, confirming the precise sensitivity he sought. After a final test proves its reliability, Greg stands to inspect the reinforced structure. With the device functioning flawlessly, he declares the intricate preparation complete, fully ready to deploy the set line into the frozen depths. The heavy axe shatters the thick ice, creating a dark opening into the frigid water below. As the weighted line sinks steadily to the bottom, a sudden slight movement accidentally trips the highly sensitive trigger mechanism. Laughing quietly at his own clumsiness, the expert realizes the device is almost too responsive for these current conditions. He carefully resets the delicate trigger, securing it firmly above the hole, and then settles into a long, silent wait for any sign of life. A massive 3-inch thick steak is presented as the centerpiece of the evening meal, prepared for both the survivor and his loyal companion. This thick cut of beef promises a much-needed caloric boost. Placed over the open flames, the meat begins to sizzle, searing both sides to lock in the rich juices. The strategy relies on the initial high heat, before transitioning to a bed of coals for a slow, even cook. But whatever. Let that cool for a minute. I think it's done. I mean, it's about half the width that it used to be in. I'm gonna cut a piece off here. I want to cut a piece off. Top part is kind of well done. Then medium. And medium rare in the middle, it's to me that it's just perfect. A meaty bone is tossed to the eager dog, rewarding its patience with a savory treat. Suddenly, a subtle tug on the fishing line signals a successful catch beneath the thick ice. With careful movements, the survivor reels in the line, bringing a slender, struggling fish to the frozen surface. Recognizing the small size of the catch, he immediately considers releasing it back into its natural frigid habitat. The decision to release the first catch is abandoned, as the hook is swallowed too deeply to save the fish. This marks the season's first official harvest from the treacherous frozen waters. Almost immediately, the tripod trigger snaps back, indicating a rapid second strike beneath the surface. The survivor reacts instantly, yanking the line with force, only to feel a frustrating lack of weight as the fish escapes. Finn's keen ears detect a faint sound, alerting Greg to another potential catch. He pulls the line again, revealing an incredibly tiny minnow that elicits a disappointed, yet amused smile. Despite the meager size, these two small fish represent a significant milestone, officially marking the beginning of the ice fishing season. Guiding the tiny minnow safely back into the dark water completes the catch and release cycle. With a quiet sense of relief, turning to the lens, Greg Ovens announces a special challenge for the channel's dedicated viewers. The task requires replicating the exact tripod trap design and recording the entire construction process on video. As a prize, he unveils a custom-made ferro rod with an antler handle, promising that successful submissions will earn the tool and a feature on his YouTube channel. Over the crackling campfire, the remaining small fish is roasted to a crispy finish. The expert admits a lingering desire to have released this final catch back into the frozen depths. Tearing off a piece of the tender white meat, he savors the simple, hard-earned flavor of the wilderness. The rest of the roasted fish is shared with the loyal dog, turning a modest meal into profound companionship. Finn licks his lips nearby, clearly eager for more. Greg thanks his subscribers for their support. He and Finn promise to return for another adventure. The loyal dog sprints through deep snow, chasing the blue truck with wild, unbridled energy. The rhythmic sound of a rapid heartbeat underscores the dog's intense exertion. Greg affectionately rubs Finn, who returns for the contact. Attempting to share details, He forgets his own Gmail. With self-deprecating humor, he asked the dog for the address.